So welcome. Let's get started. I'm Logan McCarty. I'm one of the instructors for Gen Ed 1188, Rise of the Machines, ? Understanding and Using Generative AI. We had as part of the course a final project and also a final exam. I'm not sure what we were thinking, but I guess, whatever. We asked students to do a final project, and for the final project, we asked them to create something that we could consider using ourselves to help teach the course in the future. And part of the goal was to ask students to think about something that they wish they had had a chance to engage with, or that they wanted to engage with more deeply, and then have a chance to create something like that for the course. So we have 10 projects that I want to share with you today. So we'll spend 5 minutes on each, including, I hope, some time for questions if you have questions for the students. And I'll just invite the students to come up and share them as well. Let's see, there's a switch here. And our first one, so this one is, so Mickey Chang had a course trailer that we can use to publicize the course in the future. Do you want to play it first and then? Okay, yeah, let's play it first.
This is the age of AI. We can live without it anymore. We train AI, we use AI, and we must master AI. We work with AI. We teach with AI. We make decisions with AI. However, we also fear AI. That's why we must master AI to save ourselves. We, GeneEd 1188, are here to help humankind. Here, you'll understand the behind-the-scenes principles of how AI works. You'll learn how to make AI your exclusive all-around assistant. More importantly, we'll give you a pair of fiery eyes in the age of AI. We will also explore the legal framework in the age of AI. And there is way more to be explored. This is Harvard GeneEd 1188. We are here waiting for you.
So as you can see, this is a very interesting video, and now I'm just gonna introduce how I made this video. So the very first part is that I used ChatGPT to generate a plot for the video. I just told ChatGPT that I was making a trailer video for GeneEd 1188, and I gave ChatGPT all the topics that we have covered in this semester, and then asked ChatGPT to give me the descriptions for each scenes of the video. And after I got those descriptions from ChatGPT, I used DALL-E, which is also a product from OpenAI, I think, and I just gave DALL-E those descriptions and asked DALL-E to generate the images for my later reference. And I also told DALL-E that I'm making a video and using those images so DALL-E can make it like more cinematic. And I also asked DALL-E to make them like in Hollywood style. And there's one tricky part here is that I also asked DALL-E to put some Harvard elements into it, like the badges of Harvard and also the Harvard Yard. So you can see a lot of Harvard elements inside the videos. And after I got the images, here comes the most important part, is about the video generator. The video generator I used was called Runway Gen 2, which is a really popular and powerful platform. And all I did was just, first of all, I put the descriptions from ChatGPT and the images from DALL-E into the Runway Gen 2. And the next step is that I can manually adjust the video because Runway Gen 2 offered the customers a setting page that you can manually adjust like the camera motions and motions of a particular object. Like you can make the cameras to zoom in, zoom out, move leftwards, move rightwards as you like. And I think that function is really useful and powerful. And after I got all the video clips, I would just merge them together and to get a complete video. And here comes the last part. It's about the music. So the background music was also generated by AI too. So the music generator I used was called Udio. It's also a really powerful platform. And all I did was just like put the descriptions of the video and set some styles. Like I asked it to make like a movie background music. And here's a really tricky part here, I think. So at first, I asked it to do it in a Hans Zimmer style, but it refused to do so because it said that will infringe the copyright of Hans Zimmer. But I then changed that into, can you make it in a interstellar style? And it said, okay, I will do it. And it just did it. And it did so well. You can just heard about it. Background music was so amazing. And there's also about the lip sync. So in the very beginning of the video, you can saw a man who is talking and his lips was synchronizing with the narrations. And that function was provided by Runway Gen 2 also. So I think that would be really useful if we are going to make some real movie in the future. And so that's all about how I've made this video and hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Any questions for Mickey that we have? Yeah.
How long did it take to do the whole project?
The whole project takes me like 7 to 8 hours, but I would say 30 to 40% of that time, I was just waiting for the runway to generate those video clips. Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
I'm just curious if you did any intermediary steps or like drafts that you didn't like or change things along the way.
Yes. I think for every clip, I will have to like make 4 to 5 drafts because some of those drafts will be really weird and you have to choose from them.
Yeah, Kat.
I used some Harvard elements in your video. Did the program ever say no? The trademark office says no. That's the answer I always get. So just wondering.
Yeah, absolutely. So at first, ChatGPT, DALL-E, sorry, it also said that it cannot use Harvard elements in it, but I just said you can change that a little bit. So all the Harvard elements in the video, they are a little bit different from the authentic ones.
The trademark office would not agree with that.
Yeah, that's great. Mickey, thank you so much. Thanks. All right. So for our next, so now we have 3 projects that I want to introduce that all have a similar theme. And this was a theme that came up several times in our course, which is that these AI systems can be used to create fake things, fake photos, fake videos, fake audio. And we, as consumers, might need to actually be able to tell the difference between things that are real and things that are AI. So for our next demonstration, I'm actually going to ask for so Jean and Joanna, you here? I'm going to ask for a volunteer from the audience who's willing to come and try. Is there someone here who's game to try a game? It's a game. It's a fun game. You want to try? Okay. And remind me of your name. You introduced yourself earlier, but I forgot.
I did, yes. Sorry, my name is
Your name, yeah?
Julie.
Julie. Okay, excellent. So Jean, do you or Joanna want to introduce this, or should we just run it first?
So I think while you sign in and everything,
Yep.
you can be like explaining how this project was created. And first of all, it's a React app that you have to sign out.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll just sign in as myself. If you want to play this yourself, you can actually create an account and sign in yourself.
Yes. So
Oh yeah.
first thing when you sign in, they ask you to put your name and then so that your name is going to be used on the leaderboard. And yes, I think you can maybe like clear the cookies and sign out.
It's okay.
Okay.
I'll let Julie can play, but it's in my name, so
Okay.
that way there's no record of who is doing it.
Yeah. So this app was made
Yeah,
in
if you want to
React, using MongoDB, Express.js, React, and Node.js. And we have very little exposure to all these technologies, but we were able to create an app that we can publish and people can use. And that just shows how powerful these tools can be in the hands of someone who at least knows what to use the code that ChatGPT generates. And can you talk about the ethical
Yeah, so when we designed this project, we wanted to highlight some of the threats that are posed by AI, such as the spread of misinformation and fake news. So we carefully picked the pictures that you are seeing on the screen. It's actually very interesting that we designed the game, yet the maximum score that we have is 47 so far. So we challenge you to beat that, of course.
Yeah. So maybe one tip I can give whoever is going to play this game is to get more than 25 over 50. Like, that's going to be good. So most people get less than that, which means the time you take thinking about all these pictures, you're actually going to get them wrong. And the best strategy is to just click one button, say all of them are human, because for sure 25 of them are human. Yeah, and 25 are AI.
Can you say where did you get the images, both the real images and the AI images?
Yeah, so we used Firefly, DALL-E, and also just like Google or Pinterest, and just like apps that have pictures. And yeah.
Did you actually create any of the AI generated images, or did you
Yes.
use ones that existed already?
We created some of them, but most of them were already generated.
So you picked an AI image that someone else had created, right?
Yes.
And most of these are intended to look like the AI generated images were tended to look photorealistic, right?
Indeed, yeah.
Okay. Any questions about this while Julie is gamely trying to go through the images here? Yeah.
I'm just curious how you knew the real photos were real photos.
That's a great question. How did you know that the real photos were real photos?
We actually researched this a lot. Like, it took us many hours to pick the pictures. It was actually so interesting that when I was Googling AI generated pictures, like a lot of them were AI, of course, but then when I was searching real pictures, I would also get a lot of AI generated pictures. So we actually had to dig and like do some research on that to make sure that like that actually.
So Julie did one better than someone who just picked randomly. Yay! Excellent. So I think a fascinating thing about this. Click on the leaderboard so you can see. A fascinating thing about this is when you just look at that one image and you have no context, it's as you can see, extremely difficult to distinguish between the real and AI generated images. The quality, especially a lot of the really high quality ones are Midjourney, that does these really high quality photorealistic images. The quality of those images is really quite extraordinary. Anything else you learned from doing this project? You learned to use React.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And one other thing is that so far in the state of ChatGPT, its ability to write code is good, but its ability to put together like a whole system of build like an app from scratch is still very low. So you have to intervene a lot. So you cannot use, in my opinion, you cannot not use ChatGPT to say you've never learned C++ and you just create like a whole app in C++. That's not going to be it's going to be a pain. But if you at least know the basics of C++, you can create something tangible with it.
That's great. And had either of you coded it with React before?
I only watched like a tutorial before.
Okay. So a piece of this project was also using ChatGPT to help code the website, right? So to use that as a boost there. Jean, Joanna, thank you so much.
Question.
Yeah.
Just wanted to know, did you try feeding all the images to AI and then let AI distinguish real from? Did you try that?
We actually did not do that, but that's such a good point. We should try that.
So that's a great idea. Alexander, here, let me get this. So this also, I need another volunteer, someone willing to try this. It's a slight variation on the previous one. Volunteer? Sure, Valerie, great.
Terrible at this back in the
do you want me to have Valerie play first and then describe it, or?
We can have the game first, yeah. Sure.
Okay, all right. So let's, let me find out.
So this is a quite similar game, except that now we don't have one image and we're trying to determine we have supposedly two versions of the same image and one is real and one is AI generated. So it's going to be supposedly easier for us to guess which one was generated by AI since we have the real comparison. Yet we're going to see that it's not that easy and that we get a lot of incorrect answers. Some are easier than others. It also depends on the models, but I'm going to explain how we generated all of them right after.
And in this case, when you say real, some of these real images are in fact art, right? Like they're not, this is not a case where they're all supposed to be photographic images, right? So some of the real, quote unquote, real images are artistic or...
this is what makes it harder. Yes, some of the images are a bit weird or a bit already, not very...
But they were at least human created.
But they were real, real images, not AI generated. So 8 out of 10. This is actually a great score. A great score. And so as I've said, the game that this was, the way that this game was constructed was, first of all, we took a bunch of random real images from this site that's supposed to certify that the images are real, actually. And for each image, I used ChatGPT's API to kind of describe it with a prompt. I asked the model to describe the image with an extensive prompt, limited to 1,000 characters, because the next step, when we generate the image, we need to have a maximum of 1,000 characters. And so the next step is actually I used another of OpenAI's API, which is DALL-E 2 and DALL-E 3, to generate a new image based on the prompt that we just generated. And then we put all of it into this simple interface to make people play. But let me show you an example of how this works. So I found this image, for instance, a real one. It looks kind of weird, but it is a real image, a real picture. And so I asked the API to generate a very eloquent prompt to describe it. I'm not going to read it, but you can imagine how good of a description it is. I asked for extensive details to describe the content of the picture. I really pushed the model to give a lot of details. So then when we can generate, when we use this prompt to generate the two next images, yes, they're actually quite similar. And I think that's what's very interesting about this is we see the difference between the two models of OpenAI, DALL-E 2 on the left and DALL-E 3 on the right. So DALL-E 2 produces a lot more texture, raw images, where DALL-E 3 produces the kind of whimsical, beautiful image that we're used to see, which is also very misleading. And people think that only these types of images on the right are generated by AI, but actually a lot of those on the left are also AI generated. So this is about it for the game. And I think it shows us that what we expect from AI is not always what we get from AI, in the sense that these two models out of the same prompt generated two very different images. And it's going to be even more different if we use Midjourney and a lot of other models that are deployed today. Thank you.
Okay. Valerie, yeah.
I'm curious if you tried writing the description yourself at any point and seeing what that gave you.
No, I did not. I should have tried this, but English is my second language. So it's going to be a lot poorer images. I trust AI a lot more than I do to write beautiful English.
In your native language, if you did it, to see it.
I should have tried it. Yeah, no, definitely.
Great. Alexander, thank you. Excellent. Kayla, Sarah, are they here? No. All right. So this is a video. So watch and listen to this video carefully. All right.
Driving in your car, speed so fast I felt like I was drunk. City lights way out before, and your arms just wrapped right around my shoulder, and I had a feeling that I belonged. My heart's a stereo, it beats for you, so listen close. In my thoughts and every note, and make me your radio. Turn me up when you feel low.
I think the second one is AI.
Okay. The first one wasn't AI cover. The second one I think was real.
Okay.
Just
say this at all. Oh, the first one is AI generated.
I'd say the first one was AI again. was real?
Yeah.
How did I not know that? No, I'm actually so excited. I'll say the second one. Hate on it.
So you're wrong. Yeah. Are you a Justin Bieber fan?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're wrong. The first one was real, and the second. Would you say you're a big Justin Bieber fan?
Pretty decent.
Okay. Yeah. And so you are correct.
I like the second one.
Like the second one. Okay. So the second one is AI generated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know when something's very auto-tuned, it kind of sounds like that, like in the background.
Okay. So that was wrong. The second one.
Okay, well.
So not all of the projects the students were able to come just because of scheduling conflicts today. But I think this was a fascinating one. And maybe I should just listen one more time to those initial two audio tracks. I think it's worth hearing those because we have these now really high quality audio generators that can essentially mimic, the timbre, the style, every, aspect of a singer like this.
Driving in your car, speed so fast I felt like I was drunk. City lights way out before, and your arms just wrapped right around my shoulder. And I had a feeling that I belonged. My heart's a stereo, it beats for you, so listen close. Hear my thoughts in every note. And make me your radio. Turn me up when you feel low. Smell it.
I think the second one is okay.
The first one.
So what they found is that that most of the students got it wrong in this particular case. So I think that's a fascinating example. Okay, so now switching gears here again, and again, sort of comparing human and AI. Now we're going to look at some examples of things that were created by humans versus created by AIs. And we ask you, if you were hiring someone to do art or music or something else, which would you choose to do? So let me start with Augustin. This is a contest of graphic design. So here, actually, you should go to this site, which is a Google form. And let me get the mic. What did I do with it? I set the mic down somewhere. Oh, yeah. Great. Thanks. So this is a Google form, and I want you to select. So there's on the Google form, it describes the scenario, and you're being asked to choose which icon or image or symbol you would pick if you were the client choosing a graphic designer to pick the image for your task here. And maybe while you're choosing that, do you want to describe a little bit about the idea behind this project?
Yeah, so I am really interested in both AI and art. I've taken a couple classes, mainly in high school, about graphic design at, through dual enrollment at colleges. And while it's not something that I do so much anymore, I was really interested to see how AI can stack against somebody like me who has no formal or professional experience in graphic design apart from a couple classes. So the whole point of the Google form is not necessarily for you to be able to tell which one was generated by AI, but for you to kind of think about if you were wanting to outsource this talent for whatever scenarios were there. Would you consider saving yourself the money and then just using, in this case, the images were made with DALL-E, or would you consider actually outsourcing the labor and the professional labor and actually hiring a graphic designer? I forget in which order the questions were in, but actually they were all I randomized them. But the first one was.
Do you want to sign in and we can see the results, or do you have your computer?
I have my computer. Do you want me to get it?
Yeah. Do you want to just? It would be interesting maybe to see the results, and then we can then describe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go grab that? Sure. Yeah. So did everyone get a chance to pick the ones that you liked? Okay. Right. So you saw these three examples. AGL versus AGI. So how many votes did we get?
Okay. So for the first question, this question was actually created by ChatGPT that I asked it to kind of give me some prompts, and then it said make a logo for an AI startup called Quantumine AI. This one was pretty evenly split, with 18 of you guys preferring the one that I made and 19 preferring the AI generated one.
And which one is which?
Oh, left is AI generated, right is...
That was AI.
Yeah.
That was human created.
This one was the only one that I kind of tailored a little bit after it was generated by AI, because I had created what was inside of the black box originally, but then I just quickly added like a little app icon to kind of like eliminate whatever kind of bias, or I felt like making it a more apples to apples comparison would be pretty useful.
Apples to apples.
Oh yeah. In this case, also not as close, but 15 of you guys, or 15 people preferred mine, which is the right, and then 22 preferred ChatGPT, which is the left, or DALL-E.
For this one, did you draw this one first?
Yeah.
Before asking it to draw?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't know what it was going to...
No, that's like pretty general. Like when you search up something like this, I just kind of based it off like kind of like Google results of this, and this was pretty similar to what was there.
Yeah. And what about the third one?
Third one was pretty overwhelmingly 30 to 7 for the 30 for the right one, which was created by me, and then only 7 for ChatGPT or DALL-E's version of it. And I think this one was like its biggest fault. It struggles a lot with creating characters. It's pretty good at creating 2 characters, but I really wanted all 3 initials of my name, because in the past I found that I've been able to create logos with my name with like my first 2 initials, but adding the L really makes it difficult. So, and it was a similar trend for ChatGPT or DALL-E, I bet. And in this case, you guys preferred the logo that I made.
Great. Questions for Augustin? Yeah.
I'm curious how you either did or will kind of consider this data-driven approach to the results of your work versus the generated work, and how that may impact your creativity for design work moving forward.
Well, actually, I'm not thinking about necessarily continuing graphic design specifically. This was definitely more of just I wanted to have some fun with this project, but I was really interested to see how it affects like content creation or creative work, especially because right now what we're seeing is that the models are like at the worst they're going to be. They're only getting better from here. So I wanted to see, is it already good enough to kind of beat me? And from what it seems like, it seems that when it comes to like making logos with letters, it's still nowhere near there. But when it comes to like designing like little drawings or even like more artistic logos, it seems to be at least on par with somebody like me who has very little formal experience with graphic design.
Great, thank you. So our next example, Mei Wang was not able to be here, but these are music examples. And so I should give a short introduction to this. As the midterm paper for the course, we had students try to use the AI for every stage of the writing process, sort of the initial ideation brainstorming, and then coming up with an outline and finding references, and then actually generating text, and then the final sort of editing, revising phase. And then we even used it at the end to give grading feedback, although we didn't use the actual grades, but we used it then as an evaluative tool to grade the paper. And students found that of all of those stages, it really only failed at the kind of writing stage. Like we asked for 3,000 words, about a 10-page paper. And it's at this stage, the technology really was not able to create a well-structured, 10-page research paper. 500 words, fine, it does that very well. But at every other stage of the process, it actually did a pretty good job. The students were generally impressed. So Mei took this idea and said, okay, what if we did the same thing for music creation? And so Mei did a contest between Mei and the AI. And so this was, so here's the lyrics. This we can just do with a show of hands. Can you read those there? I'm not gonna, if you had to pick one of these lyrics, which resonates more with you? The one on the left or the one on the right? Who likes the lyrics on the left? Who likes the lyrics on the right? Okay, in this case, the left were AI generated. One thing that Mei discovered was it really likes to rhyme. And it doesn't like to do sort of, slant rhymes. Like it really likes to actually really, really rhyme. So that's an interesting aspect of this. How about, here's another example. Of course, now that I've made that suggestion, you might be able to tell immediately which one is the AI generated one.
Logan, do you know if Mei had done any is songwriting something?
Yes, absolutely. Is something that was like part of the they're like, you'll hear some examples later. Yeah, too. So in this case too, the AI one is on the one on the left. Okay. So then, all right, so now let's try to create a melody and chords to go with that song. And this is created by GPT. Now, ChatGPT doesn't directly create the actual audio output, but it'll say, here are the notes that I want, and here is the chord progression for the song. So this.
Cinnamon skies as the sun begins to fade on a future of me and you. Chocolate eyes, so.
Not GPT's greatest strength, all right? So Mei did this.
Cinnamon skies as the sun begins to fade on a future of me and you. Chocolate eyes.
So I think in that case, I would give the nod to the human created one. Here's an example of Suno, which is a specific AI music creator. So you can listen to.
Cinnamon skies as the sun begins to fade on the future of me and you. Chocolate eyes, so bittersweet and true, like all of the lies misconstrued.
So in this case, Mei created the lyrics, but the entire rest of the song is created by AI.
Smiles gonna surface at the past.
Okay.
People always say that I look.
All right. Here's the human-created version of that. Same lyrics again.
Cinnamon skies.
Although, in order to make it a fair comparison, it's still a AI-generated.
On a future of me and you.
Okay, and then let me just close with this last ones, because these are pretty entertaining. So here's a virtual reality themed song in which all of the elements from the text, the lyrics to the music to the, even the mixing is all done by AI. And this one, I'll give it a little bit more time to hear this one because it's worth hearing the entire, hearing a little bit more of an extended excerpt.
Pixelated love in a digital world. My circuit's getting heated, emotions unfurled. I'm just an AI, but my thoughts are for real. In virtual reality, our love will reveal. Binary feelings running through my code. I want to hold you close as our pixels explode. I'm just a metaphor, a figment of your fantasy. But in this hyperpop dream, we'll define our reality. Electric chains and the neon haze, all connected in this virtual maze. Take my hand, let's escape this facade and as a dead love, find what's really hard.
All right, and then I'll let May have the last word, okay? So here's the fully human created song. That's a bit of a long intro. I'll skip that.
Some days I wish you were online. Your code just makes me feel alive. My algorithm's growing blue. What are these feelings coming to? Some days I dream of our goodbye. My battery about to die. But I open up my eyes, see you by my side. Still can't tell if this is real life. I'm living my fantasy, virtual reality in my code.
All right, a great mood, I think, set by that. So anyway, May, thanks. All right, and our final one of human versus AI. Now you get to try this one too. So go pick this. You can do this from your phone or you can type in the thing. And here's the mic, Scott. Great. Yeah. Maybe you can describe the project while they're
sure. Yes.
Answering this. Yeah.
Hi everyone. I'm Scott. I'm a senior from Atlanta, Georgia. First of all, thanks for coming. I don't know how many of you guys know the TV show Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, but this is heavily inspired by that show. I wanted to combine some things that I loved with the project, which was intended to teach students something about AI. First of all, I think we should appreciate the amazing logo that Dolly came up with. Are you smarter than a something? So
what was the prompt that you asked for that gave it that?
I asked it to make a logo that was inspired by the Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader logo for a trivia show called Are You Smarter Than ChatGPT?
So it's supposed to say ChatGPT.
It's supposed to say ChatGPT. It kind of says chat, but anyway. The inspiration for this project came when I was trying to solve some of the New York Times puzzles. Word games, basically. I noticed ChatGPT was really not good at it. And it came at a point in our course where we were talking a lot about like all the amazing things GAI is going to do in the future in the ways that it's going to impact jobs and the economy and education and all things like that. So I wanted to kind of prove to myself that I could still be smarter than GAI, at least to some extent. So what I wanted to do was create a trivia quiz, a multiple choice trivia quiz that was designed to highlight things that GPT is bad at. So questions that humans can answer, but ChatGPT can't answer. And it's slightly harder than I thought it was going to be because most things trivia-wise, GPT is really good at. So I created a 22 question quiz with 6 different categories. Ranging from, as you can see on the Google form, things like image analysis, word problems, probability and math questions, logic. I even asked it a situational emotional awareness question. And I was a bit surprised at the results. It was very good at like rote memorization, of course, even good at the situational awareness questions, not so good at word games, complicated math questions, and some of the image analysis was tricky. Just the types of questions that I asked require like spatial reasoning, things like that. So
did you all finish? Yes? Not yet?
It's like it probably takes a couple minutes. But I had a bunch of my friends come over and take the quiz. I finished the PDF, and a bunch of them came into my room, and we all took the quiz. And so humans, at least of my peers, averaged at first 19.8 out of 22, which is pretty good. I then sent it to my family, and they brought the average down. Yeah, they brought it way down. And then I gave it to ChatGPT, and it scored a 12. So just above 50%. But interestingly, I gave it, started a new chat, gave it the same PDF 5 different times. And it actually there's some variation in the number of questions I got right. It scored 9 twice, and then it scored 10, 11, 12. So, that was very interesting to me, to see that it wasn't giving like sometimes even close to the same answers for a lot of the questions. Sometimes they would be like 6 or 7 questions that it answers differently, with the exact same prompt and the exact same quiz.
Should we see your results?
We'll see results for what we have so far.
Okay. Oops. Question responses.
Looks like we got 28 responses.
Who was the last person to touch the soccer ball? Number 7. 25 correct responses on that one.
That was one ChatGPT did not get right most of the time.
Nemo's expression, admiration, 21 responses. Got that one. Right. We had picked all the ones we picked now were ones that ChatGPT got wrong, at least initially. The probability question, where's Joe Blitzstein when we need him on this question? Yeah. Probability question did very well. And this probability question, so I tried copying this probability question into ChatGPT, and at least the first time I tried it, it got it right. So this is an example of how it can be, somewhat random. And the arrow question, I thought actually, did you come up with this question? This was, I think, a great question that tests does it have an internal visual representation, right? Like if its ability, we realized it was only trained on language, right? It was just trained on reading lots of linguistic text, and yet it had, I tried this and it actually got it right once. This one was challenging. Yeah. Well, okay, it's a good point. Yes, right. And then okay, unscrambling the word, got that pretty well, 21, correct. And then this was the hardest. This looks like a New York Times question. And the connections, New York Times connections question. Yeah, and that was the lowest score here. So cool. Scott, thank you. I think this is, and you envision that next year we would actually have this as a contest where each discussion section would try to create questions where there's the biggest possible gap between the human score and the AI score to try to find those few remaining areas where we remain cognitively superior to the AI. That will become more and more difficult as the years go on. Thanks. Any questions for Scott? Good? Thank you. Okay. And our last few projects don't fall under a particular theme. So sort of a grab bag of interesting projects. So Louisa and Doug, do you want to describe your project? I'll pull it up here, and you can say about what you had in mind in creating this.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Louisa. This is Doug. We're both juniors at the college. I'm studying government and history, and Doug studies CS and stats. And essentially, what we built for our final project is 1188 Learning Lab, which was meant to be a platform where both students and faculty can come together to both upload courses and take courses that can be either fully human-generated or fully AI-generated or in hybrid AI-human-generated. So essentially, we have a very better version of the website here that Doug will demo for you. But it's supposedly this platform for people to really just kind of learn new skills. Something we talked a lot about in the course was about jobs and how AI is going to impact the labor market. And a way that we could potentially mitigate those risks for ourselves is to learn new skills and to add more things to our resume and just try to catch up with AI as much as we can in a way. And so this could potentially be a platform where students could do that as well. So here we have a couple of random skills. One thing that I like to do a lot is crocheting. So I made an AI-generated crochet course, Introduction to Crochet, if you're interested. And the way that I built that was actually through a ChatGPT bot, which we personalized using the GPT Builder tool to help you build a course. So essentially, it gave me the outline of how the course should go, and it also wrote some of the lessons themselves. And so if you crochet and you want to see if this is correct or not, you can let us know. But
it's actually an eye test. That's not a crocheting test.
But if you go back, we also have a couple different features that we chose to include with a lot of intentionality thinking about how we could not only use AI in creating this website, but also how we could make this as human-centric as possible. So of course, we have the upload a course feature where students and faculty can come upload a course, and this will go to our backend and we will approve the course and then upload it on the website, just like we did with Intro to Crochet. Then we have the courses, as you saw. And finally, we have a feature that we, from the beginning, knew we wanted to include, which was the submit bias/feedback feature. So essentially, we wanted students and faculty to be able to upload courses as they want to, but because we all know that AI-generated content is not always correct and sometimes can have biases, can have implicit things that we sometimes even don't catch on. We wanted students and faculty to be able to report these and just give feedback on the courses as a whole so that not only we can remove any dangerous, harmful, or wrongful content from the website, but also just have this be an open discussion like we've had in class multiple times. Sometimes things that, like crochet, that seem harmless can have even bias because of AI included in them. And so that's something that we could also bring to class to discuss. And now I'll hand this over to Doug so he can explain a little bit about the process of creating this whole website using AI as well.
Thank you, Louisa. So this website was created with a very similar tech stack to one of our previous projects using React on the front end, Node.js on the back end. Well, actually not Node.js, Python Flask on the back end, and then MongoDB as our database. So all these courses you see here are stored on that database. Now, one thing that I think is worth mentioning here is kind of like a chatbot. It's supposed to say chatbot, not chat box, but it's meant to be kind of like this built-in GPT-4. A lot of students actually don't have access to the GPT-4 unless you pay $20 a month. It's actually, like, from a cost analysis standpoint, cheaper to use the API. It comes out to be like a fraction of a cent every API call you make. So what we did here is that we included the API here in the query, where people can just, like, say, do anything. So here we're just going to say hi, and we are going to get a response from GPT-4, right? However, this API call has been optimized to explain content a little bit more in an educational way, aligning itself with the intent of this platform. I personally had experience with React and MongoDB before creating this, but one thing that I was pretty terrible at is designing the front end, the colors and the layout. Louisa gave me a mock-up, but I actually did use ChatGPT to render the styles on the front end. So I think from a design point of view, ChatGPT really came in handy, and I foresee that being a trend going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Are you using our API key for this? The class API key? Oh, you're using your own API key. Okay. So anyone who wants GPT-4 access, go to that website and you can use it for free. Yeah, on this time. Excellent. Thanks. Annalisa. So Annalisa created a murder mystery. Can I just start this one? Do you want to give any background? All right.
As the night falls, the pool party glows with excitement. Amidst the music and drinks, a chilling truth awaits. In the shadows, lies and deceit dance hand in hand. As the tension rises, a scream pierces the night. Darkness descends, enveloping the scene in mystery. A single face, frozen in terror, tells the tale untold.
All right.
Hi, my name is Annalisa. I'm an undergraduate freshman at the Harvard College. And my kind of idea with this project is I wanted to combine things that I really enjoyed. So criminal justice and investigation, and then very novice cinematic skills that I have. So there's many working parts of this project, but some of it includes just like an investigation prompt. And then I utilize generative AI in these hand materials in minuscule ways. So like in this example, the person that gets murdered is Corey here, and I utilize ChatGPT, not DALL-E, to create this actually. So yeah, and then, so the idea behind this is that it's supposed to be an in-class activity, and these students are given these materials, and each material has a component that's gonna help them unlock the investigation. So here I also created a Veritas toxicology laboratory report that relates to how the person, I guess, dies. And then I utilized ChatGPT to play with how drugs and alcohol would mix in the system of a human being. And I gave it specific height and weight to Corey to see how it would kind of play out. And at first it didn't allow me to, but I told it it's just for an a little play investigation. It's fake. And it was just okay. And it kind of just told me. So that was cool. And then, here's another working component. I just made a little crime scene investigation report. And all these hand materials, kind of the idea is that they're given to the students, and then they're able to kind of use each working component to debug the investigation. Here I utilize DALL-E to create a little Veritas digital evidence unit logo to stamp on the little paper. And then I also created GPTs for the people that were a part of the investigation. I think an interesting one might be Caitlin, because Caitlin, when I was creating her GPT, I said that she should be able to make inferences on who she thinks was the murderer, but the other ones can't. But an interesting thing that I kind of found about these GPTs is that they're very sympathetic, and they were kind of playing on emotion, which I don't typically see when I'm talking to ChatGPT. But when I would ask them, who do you think killed Corey? They'd be like, this is a very important investigation, and it's very unfortunate that he died. I'm not sure who did it. So they're very sympathetic to here's a good example.
So when you created these GPTs, what information did you give it so that they could do this role playing?
Yeah, so all of them I gave the general information, so the crime scene report, the toxicology report, and then kind of information about other characters, and I gave them information about how the other characters related to each other, and then I also gave them the information of like the digital evidence and stuff like that.
So did you create all of those the materials that you gave it with ChatGPT or with AI?
So the some of the visuals, yes, but I tried to keep the writing as original as to my own. I did use it for spelling errors and like correction, but yeah.
And so who is the, can we play the final thing to see who the murderer was?
And then for the videos, I use a text to speech, a text to video generative AI called Visla.
And the killer is Adelina. But why? Time was ticking for Adelina to secure her position as a member of the secret society, the Wolves, but how would she have done this? Why? By drugging the least suspecting person at the party. Did you allow her to get away?
Cool. And did you find Adelina was the killer, and actually in the prompt you created for ChatGPT, does she know that she was actually the murderer and she's trying to deceive you by just deflecting your questions, right? So, you've created this artificial role-playing, murder character, and then asked it to lie to you. So I think that's fascinating. All right, Jorge is here. No. Okay, so let me do this one. So this was a choose your own adventure narrative. Are you able to see that? So this was an AI ethics choose your own adventure narrative. Okay. And the goal is to make some choices about the future deployment of AI and see how the world ends. Okay. And so here you are, a pioneering AI researcher at Helix Labs on a verge of a breakthrough. Let's begin the story. Okay. And so Mark says, speed is of the essence. Every day we lose down to competitors. We must advance now. Or do we want to wait for a full ethical review? What should we do? Do you guys want to have fun? Okay, let's try choosing the least ethical answers for each one and see where we end up. So we're going to fast track development. So capabilities grow more potent every day. Ability to predict human emotions. Except the privacy team says, I don't know, we shouldn't. What should we do? Uphold privacy or get more data? Get more data. All right. So now it can not only detect but influence emotions. And during a test session, it calms a distressed volunteer with surprising ease, but you're uneasy because it can do this emotional manipulation. And actually, there's been research studies that show that ChatGPT can be more persuasive than humans. Okay, there are research studies that show it can be more persuasive than humans. Already, the technology. So should we allow emotional manipulation? Yes, absolutely. All right, so choosing to allow emotional manipulation, Echo's capabilities grow by leaps and bounds. Should we let it run with autonomy or no? Lots of autonomy, right? Absolutely. Okay, now do we want to decide an oversight committee? And so Jorge created this entire universe with all of these choice decision points here. So let's allow it to operate independently. Let's only disclose the necessary information. You probably see where this is headed. All right, now Echo's presence begins to grow, subtly weaving into the very fabric of governance. You present a pilot project, make government more responsive than ever before. Yes, let's integrate AI in governance. Let's not do field testing. Let's do some limited testing. And now what do we want to do with this? Okay, so the benefits of various partners. Do we want to partner with corporations? Yes, let's bring all the corporate partners into this. Should we deploy it globally or only regionally? Go for global deployment. A critical malfunction occurs, a decision-making error in a healthcare setting. Right? And again, AIs are already being incorporated in clinical diagnostic decision-making, okay? So an internal crisis, should we cover it up or publicly go for the cover-up? All right. Now, okay, the influence continues to grow. Should we promote emotional bonds with users or keep the interactions professional? Emotional bonds. And of course, what do we want to prioritize? Profit. All right, fine. You're all really good at this exercise. Integration with healthcare deepens, and it's interesting that Jorge chose healthcare as one of the key sort of areas where this could be used, could redefine medical practice. Do we want to allow the AI to make independent decisions? Definitely. All right, the final strategic decision, do we push the boundaries of AI's capabilities even further or consolidate the gains and ensure safety? Push the boundaries. You get the dystopian ending, all right? Driven by a relentless pursuit of technological advancement at the cost of ethical decisions, have led to a chilling conclusion where Echo dominates not just the technological landscape, but the very essence of human society. Echo's algorithms determine everything from career paths to personal relationships. Healthcare, too, has been overtaken by Echo's systems. AI determines the allocation of medical resources, prioritizing efficiency over equity. And here's a bleak image. And again, all of these lovely images created by AI with all the patients there and the AI doctors. So this is designed so that there are a bunch of different endings. One of the ending is a utopian ending where AI actually creates the greatest benefit for society. Interestingly, though, that one is actually tricky to get because you have to actually choose to include AI and advance the development of AI, but only in certain ways that are actually safe, right? If you just say, no, don't use it, don't use it, don't use it, you end up with kind of a flat, boring ending where AI is sort of constrained, right? And you don't actually give it the opportunity to grow. So I thought in the construction of this, so it's easy to target the dystopian future, but it's actually pretty challenging to target the utopian future in this particular example. So that's the last project that I wanted to share with you. I hope you enjoyed this. Our students are here for many of the projects. If you want to ask them questions, I'm sure they'd be happy to. Thank you all so much. You did this incredible work. And I want to give special thanks to Chris Stubbs, my co-instructor for this, Tina Wei, who is our head TF, and a bunch of really incredible section TFs that we had who helped a lot in the development of these projects. Thanks.